Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name's Bobby Waldron, and what we have here today is a final conclusion video for Hobbyboss's 1/48 scale TBM-3 Avenger Torpedo Bomber. So to just kickstart this nice finished Avenger here, which we've already done the inbox review, which you can see on the Genesis Models website. Right, to start off, what I like to do is I like to get out the instructions and have a little bit of a chat on how it all went together. However, the instructions aren't numbered up that well. You've got two kind of pieces of paper, and as I say, they're not numbered in order sort of thing, but bear with me. Detail. Bags and bags of internal detail with this actual kit. You can't really grumble, and it's nice detail as well. It's not like kind of like horrible detail. It really does have some really nice kind of, definitely really good out of the box kind of detail. Our engine section, beautiful, nice natural metal finish paints I did on there, buffed it up. The rest of the internal detail, the cockpit and everything, you know, it's all really damn good detail, and there's just loads of it. I mean, it's just a big chunk of detail, you know. Bomb area, get out the other piece if you see what I mean. Right, turret detail, you know, that is smashing detail, you know, and it really does build into this big chunk. If you can probably see just on our instructions here, it builds into this big chunk of internal detail, which then the two fuselage halves come together, you know, and then you've got all that internal detail. Now you do lose, you know, some of the detail when you bring the two fuselages together, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, it's still worth doing because you can really still see that the pilot seat quite a bit. The engine detail does kind of, well, you can't really see much of the that, but it's still worth doing, and it was fun doing it. And you know, big thumbs up to Hobbyboss. I mean, with all this big chunk of internal detail, I did kind of think, is this going to be too much of a chunk of detail going on here, that we're going to have some fit issues? But we didn't. I mean, it fitted really well. No problems with this big chunk of detail going on in here, fitting into our two fuselage halves. So big thumbs up there, as I say. I went for the option of closing the bomb bay doors, which that fitted rather well there. Moving along. Wheels. Now the wheels, I did actually have one of the wheels missing with the kit, which was quite a bit of a bummer, but I did find out that in the UK, Creative Models Limited are the importers for Hobbyboss. So if you have any kits by Hobbyboss, give Creative Models a ring and they will send you replacement parts. Now they do charge you postage and packaging, which, you know, is a bit of a pain, but still, you can get your replacement parts, whatever you need, from them. And I ordered that, and then the next day it came, so I was like straight back into it, no problems. So that's just a nice little note just to let you know. The actual canopy section, no problems there. It's just, there is just bags and bags of you know, canopy masking to kind of cut up and all that kind of stuff. So if you're someone who doesn't quite like that sort of thing, you might want to go out and buy the pre-cut masks for that. Moving along a bit more, right, canopy wings folded. Now with quite a lot of kits, I find where the wings are an option to have them folded or closed, you do kind of tend to have like a problem with trying to get some filler and sanding and scribing to get that join line where the wing folds, to get it looking right when you want it in the closed position. So to be totally honest with you, not really much of a problem. I mean, I did have to use a bit of Vallejo plastic putty, but that was it. I mean, there was no sanding, it was just Vallejo plastic putty, wipe away with a few tiny little gappy areas, maybe a little bit of rescribing, and that was actually a really damn good fit. So another thumbs up for Hobbyboss. You know, no fit issue, more of a tackling nasty problems that you can get with certain areas, so that's good. Apart apart from the instructions, that's it. Now the instructions do tell you to take your turret and have it glued in within the fuselage when you put the fuselage halves together. I wanted to have this out because it's so much of a pain to have to rotate spray our little turret here to get it all sprayed, as well as you've got this MG sticking out the whole time, and you don't want that kind of breaking as you're filling, sanding, scribing and everything. But I did do a dry fit, and I did find that you could kind of pop it out at will. However, I didn't have the courage to try it out and, you know, spray this separately and everything and then pop it back in at the end. So if you want to try that, you can, but I decided to go play it safe and just leave it in there. But you know, that's something you might want to think about and decide. I just felt that once those two fuselage halves were solidly glued together, that as much as you could pop it out in a dry fit, once it was glued, I kind of thought, you know, it might kind of get a bit tighter and you couldn't pop it in and out, and I just didn't want that problem at the end. So that was like the build stage. Now, the spraying stage. Now, when it comes to blue, I think people seem to not like it because of, I think it may be the bleach inside of it, the kind of spray weathering side of it, as well as kind of doing certain types of weathering. I've found that when it comes to doing the bleaching, where we add a bit of white to our paint here, is not to go too overboard. A little bit of white, you just want to kind of do it lightly. You know, if you go too far, it's just going to look a mess, because I mean, it is quite a dark kind of royal blue, and if you come in with adding a few too many drops of white, you can end up with like a really light sea blue kind of bleaching going on. Excuse me, that can make it look a bit funny. You've got to be kind of careful there. And just to kind of show you, where is it, I used extra acrylics by Hanance. It was XA1121 Gloss Sea Blue, which is Federal Standards 15042. That's what I used for this one, and it was an all over spray job, both underneath and on top. So that was like the spraying. The deckling, sadly, the decals were a little bit of a pain. They didn't quite want to conform to Micro Sol or Set or the Mr. Mark range. So I mean, they did get there in the end, but they wasn't brilliant, right? They're going to take a few coats of Micro Sol and Set just to get them to conform, which, you know, you're going to have to be patient with, but they will just about get there in the end if you keep persevering with it. So the weathering side of it, now the weathering side of it, I didn't want to kind of go for your standard kind of colours that you use for doing your panel line wash. I didn't do a pin wash this time. I decided to do a sludge wash, and I've kind of mixed up a colour which is something like a kind of medium, sort of almost dark grey going on. It was so as we didn't have something dark like black, because this is quite a dark paint job going on here. I kind of wanted to get some sort of a weathering that was a little bit lighter, shall we say. I wanted to go lighter rather than darker, because I mean, normally with, say, a jet aircraft that's like a grey, you know, you want a dark weathering wash, whereas with this one, because the paint works so dark, we want to go with a lighter weathering wash, which is why I went for this kind of medium grey, kind of come a little bit lighter but looking kind of still a bit dirty and grimy. So that's what I use for this blue, and hopefully, as you can see, the actual surface detail is absolutely gorgeous on this kit. Hopefully, as you can see, if I can rotate it in the light, you can just see all that beautiful rivet detail and recessed panel line detail going on there. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and just sets this kit off beautifully for Hobbyboss. So, to finally conclude this kit, I've got to say it's definitely a well recommended kit, because let's face it, it fit together beautifully. You've got beautiful internal detail to go nuts and have a really good time doing internal detail. You haven't got to worry about fit issues or anything like that, because it will go together rather nice. The panel line detail and the surface detail is so nice. I mean, it just kind of looks great itself. You don't really have to kind of try with this one. It's just so nice on that surface detail. So I mean, you've got so much going for it. The only real kind of problem with this was the decals, and still the decals, you do eventually get there in the end and get them conform nicely. So definitely a nice big thumbs up for Hobbyboss's Avenger. Now the kit costs about £35 RRP, which is quite a lot of money for a World War II fighter, but it's not like your normal World War II fighters that are, well, let's face it, a P-51D Mustang next to this would look quite small, to be honest. This is actually rather a big World War II fighter going on here. I mean, it's a torpedo bomber, really, more than a fighter in a way. So I mean, you know, it is definitely a bigger, you get quite a bit of plastic for your money, bags of detail, you know, great fit, but as I say, £35, I'd say you're probably just about spot on with the money sort of thing. I mean, I want to say it's maybe too over the top, or you know, maybe you've got yourself a bargain. I think you're paying for what you get with this kit, because it is a cracker of a kit, and it's definitely enjoyable, and it will look good on somebody's mantelpiece. So hopefully you've had a nice good look into the Avenger here by Hobbyboss, and maybe you want to go out and buy it now or whatever, but apart from that, I hope you've enjoyed. So my name's Bobby Waldron, and I hope you've enjoyed this Genesis Models final conclusion video for our TBM-3 Avenger Torpedo Bomber by Hobbyboss 1/48 scale.